When the president was being sworn in, he said we should be citizens and not spectators. So a lot of people started thinking about who a citizen is. But I sense people see citizenship from a point of the right to vote, having a Ghana card, and calling myself a Ghanaian. But from what you've said to me in the past, that's not who a citizen is, right? So, Bridget, explain your concept of who a citizen is and why many Ghanaians are not being citizens. They're basically just being spectators.
Well, I don't know whether it comes from our history and a certain fear to speak up, but a citizen should be bold enough to say what they want and also do or take some responsibility. I am sure that if I ask among, and I've had the opportunity to speak to students, I've asked them, how many of you are actually registered to vote? And few hands will go up.
You can try that here.
Well, how many of you have a voter's ID?
That's a good 55%.
50%.
No, let's ask the question. How many of you are registered to vote in this election? It's above average. It's not about 60%, probably more.
Is that good enough, though? Well,
they're not all Ghanaians.
They are not all Ghanaians.
Okay. How many of you are citizens registered to vote in your country?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's see the hands again, just to be sure. No, okay, so these are then those who didn't raise their hands earlier. All right.
The other question I ask is, how many of you voted in your local level elections?
1, 2, 3. Oh, Lord.
Yes. This is it. And that is what it takes to be a citizen. That is what it takes when you live in a certain locale to find out who the assembly person is, or to say, I want to be the assembly person of this place. And when it comes to, if you won't be, support whoever wants to be. Yes. And if you won't support the person, go and vote, at least. Make a decision. Be involved in the local governance of your community. And take it from there. Take it the next step. Be concerned when you walk around and see things that are not right. And speak up about it. And it doesn't matter that it's speaking against someone you know, or someone, your uncle, or your... It's about your principles and your values. And I heard Patrick say something about principles. I think that we have so much gone against our values and our principles in support of our political parties. We've become political people or partisan people rather than citizens. And that is where we have to change it. You must, it's country first.
All right. Before
whatever political party, if you like, you want to be.
Thank you, Bridget. Kojo, your take on citizenship?
Just maybe something that Bridget said about partisanship and citizenship. I don't think it actually should be, one should be positive, one should be negative.
All right.
And that's the thing that I think has grown. We've sort of turned everything that's good into a very bad thing, because what are political parties established to do? They're supposed to aggregate our interests so that, in a democracy, it's not Athenian democracy where everybody's standing in the market and saying one thing or the other. It's a way of organizing citizens to be able to, put some idea out there. Now, somehow that has become almost the excuse for anything that you can do if you are part of a party. That is negative. That is even anti-state, anti-government. I don't. For me, parties are supposed to be positive in a democracy. For me, citizenship imposes a certain bundle of rights and responsibilities. It's a term of art. Okay. If you say you are a citizen, there are certain rights that accrue to you that you get to exercise. The same way you have duties. So for any democratic society to thrive, you have to have active citizens who are aware of their rights, but also aware of their responsibilities, and actually exercise them on a daily basis. If that is missing, then you have a problem. So Afrobarometer shows that, for example, yes, about in Ghana we are doing 70% on average that people go to vote. But when it comes to protest, it's about 10% of people that will go and protest on an issue.
Wow.
Maybe even lower, people who write to their MPs or do any kind of citizenship type things that is supposed to make a democracy, thrive and work. So I don't think we are alive to our roles as citizens. We think that when we go and vote,
we've done our work.
The government that we elect should govern, and we'll get our bread and our water.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. You have to almost be on that government from day one to the next election to make sure that you actually get the bread and the water.
Wonderful.
And I think that gap is what we have to fill.
Thank you. Mami, your thoughts on citizenship?
Okay, so imagine we have a house, and there are 3 adults in the house. We're not going to introduce them. There's a plate of cookies on the table, and there's also a tap that's running in the sink in the kitchen. It's just running. It's just wasting. Water's going away. One of them comes, sees the cookies, and says, "Oh, they don't know if they can take it, so they're just going to wait and see." And they don't really want to spoil anything, so they sit down. They don't touch the tap. They don't touch the cookies. And then the second person comes in and eats a bunch of cookies and sees the tap and is like, "Oh, I'm sitting down, I'm comfortable, I can't get up. How much time will it cost?" And then a third person comes in, the third adult comes in, sees the cookies, takes the cookie, then hears the water and says, "Oh, I can't waste this water, my bills will go up," and goes to turn off the water. Who owns the house? Which of these 3 people owns the house? That's the citizen. Wow. The person who both knows their rights and their responsibilities. The one who cares when the water is wasting because they know the bill is theirs. That's a citizen. Wow. The country is our house. Whether it goes well or not depends on how much we're willing to give to it. So if we will let the water run, then we can walk around saying, "Oh yes, we own a house," but we're not actually invested in that house. A citizen is invested in their country. Wow. And so like Kojo was saying, there are duties. And the duties are not simply to be in an electoral queue. Although we respect that, because sometimes you can be in the queue for 4 hours. We respect that. But that's not it. It's knowing who you're supposed to be asking the questions to and asking them and waiting for their answers and telling them, "You didn't give me an answer the last time I asked," and writing to your MP. And no, your MP should not be out of your country for 6 months and you don't know this. You don't even know this. A real citizen protects their home, enjoys their rights, but protects their home.
I love this. Come on, guys, this is awesome. So the question is, are you eating the cookie? Are you watching television or putting off the tap? I think the question would ask. That was a brilliant illustration. So as a student, by the way, have you registered to vote? Put you on the spot there. What are your thoughts on citizenship? Because I like the rights, responsibility kind of thing. Do you feel treated as a citizen in Ghana? Do you get to enjoy the rights? And do you understand your responsibility? Can you share a little around how you conceptualize your citizenship, Amma?
Okay, thank you. So definitely my rights are not being infringed upon in any way I'm aware of. Okay. So yes, I consider myself a citizen enjoying my full rights.
Your cookies.
The rights I'm well aware of. So they've said a lot, and it's true. Citizenship is about your rights and as well as your responsibilities. So as a young person and a student, I have responsibilities just like any other citizen, but I have a privilege, sort of, because it was mentioned how some people grew up not having the kind of citizenship I have right now. So that means greater responsibility for me and people in my demographic. And you give the statistics of the people who do not want to vote right now in the country, and I happen to be part of that statistic. So the question is, why? And it's a lot of things. Nobody can make it set in stone. I think the Afrobarometer statistics talks to it, the perception about corruption and all of that. But I think beyond that, as a young person, I'm responsible for my community, in as much as I'm responsible for myself, I want to do well in life, but I also have to make sure my community also does well. So how do I realize that kind of citizenship? It is by looking at what is important to me in my community and then speaking to it, working towards it. I like that they said emailing your MP, writing to them and all of that. But I think as young people, we need to feel empowered about what we also can do towards our responsibility. So if there is something wrong in a community that we can fix with our skills and little resources, can we improvise with something available in the community to solve this problem? I think young people today, like myself, are empowered to kind of do that. So for example, if you're a mechanical engineering student and there happens to be a bridge not functioning well in your community and it's just about putting nails and wood together to make it work, I don't think you really need to talk to your assemblyman. I mean, you can let them know what you want to do, but I think taking charge of certain things are one of the ways as a young person I can really realize my citizenship in terms of my responsibilities.
Let me press you a bit. Do you see this happening in your community? For example, here, do you have people who volunteer to go teach? So, for example, we say some kids in a community, they are not well educated, they're dropping out of school. Does the curriculum here or the leadership program here encourage, and do you see the citizens here, beyond complaining to the MP, go and actually solve a problem?
Well, at Ashesi, it looks like whether you like it or not, when you do Leadership 4, you have to go out there and help solve a problem. And it is mandated, but then I think based on the essence of it, you understanding its importance, some students go out of their way, even after the Leadership 4 series, to continue volunteering. So there are currently initiatives run by students, led by students, where in the Brekusu community, which is where we are right now, we live here till vacation, so we are part of this community. People go out there and then effect change in any way they see possible.
Wonderful.
With their resources.
Just last question to you. So that group of 18 to 29 who say they won't vote, you understand it better than the rest of us on the panel. What do you know why? Because I was surprised that the first time I voted was the year 2000. I was very eager to vote because this was the first time I was going to get the chance to choose a president and an MP. And then the surveys are saying, by the way, this is not just Afrobarometer. The NCC survey corroborates this, that the largest group of I won't vote were 18 to 29. And that was shocking. Is it that the rest of us misunderstand these guys? Is it that we are speaking a different language? Why on earth will people of your age group say that even the basic thing, the voting that Bridget says is not enough, even that you don't want to do it? What's going on here? Help me.
Okay, so on top of my head, one of the things I can think of is if you don't think that activity is going to effect a lot of change, then you might as well not do it. But I want to push back a little on that. That is also because of the kind of democracy we've been brought up to accept and understand. Yeah. So I used to make a joke with my friends that for a long time, I understood democracy like how we say it in Tree. Kabi mamin kabi. It means you can just talk your mind.
I tell you.
And that's what democracy is. But then, of course, democracy is beyond that once in 4 years activity. I think if we were made to understand that there is more you can do as a citizen that would affect the change you want to see beyond voting. If we know in a community we could sit with our assemblyman like I'm sitting with you right now, an opportunity we don't get. If we are empowered to do that, if we're empowered to come up with something and be able to sit with the adults about it and discuss it and be treated as though we also have something to contribute, I think that would make us want to be involved more. But then, if we see it as after every 4 years, people are coming to come around and solicit for our votes, and that is all they think we can give them, I think naturally there will be...
wow.
Yeah.
No, I love this. Amma, put your hands together for Irama. This is the Ashesi City Dialogue. We're coming to you live from the Hive here at Ashesi Brekusu. My name is Bernard Avle. We're discussing 4 key themes: scholarship, citizenship, leadership, and nation building. My partner, Bridget Jobanuku, who is a feisty citizen, Kojo Pumpuni Asante, CDD, and of course Dr. Mami Mensah-Bonsu, who teaches here, and Amma Ewurama Sam, who is our citizen.